to you about,
Mhm.
we always, where were you before working with us? Have you been, because I know you were employed. How long had you been, trying to do something different?
Ah, I was mostly just afraid to do it. It's
How long were you thinking about it being afraid?
years.
Okay,
Like,
good.
like 2 years ago, I tried once or twice. I got dinged, and then I kind of left it, and I found joy in in my role, and then I tried again. And the problem is that also the company took a downturn in the last 2 years.
Hmm.
So Micro Focus now is a shrinking company, and my upside was diluted to the point that now it's like no upside at all.
Yeah.
No reason, there's no reason for me to be there. I mean, some people might have a lot of stocks, and the stock value is even if I had a lot of stock, which I don't, the stock value is really, really probably quarter of what it used to be a year ago. The company is not doing well.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
So I
so
want.
years. I was thinking for years to your
Mhm.
question, and I was just afraid,
Mm.
afraid to, you know,
Yeah.
Make
usual
the leap.
stuff.
Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So at what point did you say, I need some help. I need to maybe work with someone who can help me in this job search process.
So about like I think 8 months ago, I thought maybe I should have a resume writer, work with a resume writer. So I
Hmm.
reached out, and then I had a call with Tim.
Mm.
Hmm.
And then we talked about the resume, and then Tim told me, hey, we have that program, blah, 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 and think about it. And then we kind of, we disconnected,
Hmm.
and I was back in my work, business as usual. I let it go again. And then about 3 months ago, I got the email from you guys, and I saw that you did this presentation of the cheat sheet,
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
joined,
Yeah.
I joined this presentation, and the day after, I just signed up.
Mm.
Hmm. And I remember it didn't go as smoothly as that. I remember because anytime people want to invest in themselves, they always get kind of like, oh, I'm not sure. But then what people don't think about is you've been thinking about this for 4 years, And I remember you talked to Jack, I believe, and then you were like, well, I want to talk to Tim again. And then I talked to you, and because me and Kara were just talking about this skepticism, especially with all these companies, you hire people to help you, and then you're let down consistently. So
Yeah.
that's your mindset going to this call of, are these people really going to be able to help me? And I know that was a big concern of yours. And then interviews start flowing in. You're like, hey, okay. And,
Yeah.
it looks like in, roughly a little, I don't know what the day mark is, 70 or 80 days. Now you accepted a role at a company you're really excited about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Little more money, a lot more opportunity there. Right.
Yeah, and it's much bigger than that for me, Tim. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the role and the job. It's more that the idea that I am actually a very marketable um, professional, and
Mm-hmm.
I have been waiting for way too long, and now I actually know how to play the game of looking
Mm.
for a new job, and that confidence in myself
Mm-hmm.
has been my biggest fear.
Yeah.
It's funny that I say that, but it has been my
No,
biggest fear
it's
for
not
a
It's
funny.
few
not funny.
years.
I'm
It's
glad
just
you
like
said this too, because we have someone here who's a strategic business development leader. And I mean, you're talking about bringing in, if we explained how successful you were, people probably wouldn't even believe us, most of the time. But, everyone we work with is super successful, but they have this thing in their mind that's like, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure.
And I remember
So,
when we first talked, it was one of those things about having that mental mindset of being like, I can go out and get that job. And then when those interviews started coming in, it was like, oh, yeah, all right. So that's really exciting. And I wanted to kind of ask, we worked together a lot through this process. What did you find was the most valuable part of the program for you?
um, personally for me, I would say two things. One, which surprised me,
mm-hmm.
is the all the pep talks.
Yeah.
I actually discovered that after a few days that I'm kind of listening in and doing the videos, and joining the two calls and writing my goals, like following the
Mm-hmm.
recommendations,
Mm.
I discovered that actually it soothes me in some ways and gives me motivation. And I didn't, I must say that a lot of this, it's not the first time that I hear in my life, I heard it throughout my career many times, but that worked really well for me. It just especially the conversations about how to kind of deal with your own mind and your own thoughts and your own fears and your own doubts and, feed the beast. For me, this is so powerful. It's such a simple concept, right? But it's so powerful. And I do it way too often, and also forgetting the goals. Another thing, I know what to do, I know but then I get distracted. I do a million other things because I need to do them for work. And then I just forget. So writing the goals is very simple, but for me it worked. So that's one. The second thing, and Kara, you know this because I worked with you a lot on this, is really how to kind of play the game of getting a job. It's funny, I went to business school. I did a lot of this stuff in business school, and I can't remember any of that. And I always ended up hitting this hiring manager who are just, not the type of, not the right hiring managers. And every time I get so disappointed. And so the rule of numbers, and for me, they how to respond. A lot of the small understanding, like understanding and accepting that that's the way it works. Like, for example, people make decisions about you in the first 10 seconds. It's about handling objections, the interview guide. So that was very, very helpful. I think my weakness or my gap has been mostly around the communication, around the process, and also how to actively manage it and be in control and always ask. So it's a lot of really, really amazing advices that you guys bring with a lot of experience.
It's interesting because everyone has to go through this interview process, right? Everyone has to find a new job at some point in their life, but no one really ever teaches you how. And there's just so many strategies and different nuances about it. And I'm really glad that we were able to kind of partner together and help you out with all of that stuff.
And real quick too, I think people really underestimate, Gal, the amount of interviews that they really need to go on to get traction, because you went on interviews that we did everything we can and they just fizzled out, or you finally met with the hiring manager after a couple things and then you were like, there's no way I could work for this guy, So people underestimate a lot, like the amount of interviews it actually takes to finally get to that one where you're like, hey, this feels right,
Yeah.
So
and I'm scared to death even now, but I'm so excited also.
It's a mix of excitement and scary, right? But
yeah,
I'm so glad. So Gal, if someone were here right now and they were considering working with Tim and I, what advice would you give them?
I would just say trust the process. So I think if you really come with an open mind and you're listening, if you're planning to be sarcastic or to object, the recommendations, then maybe it's not going to work so well. But if you come with an open mind, I think it's gold. For me, it has been gold. Really. I really appreciate all of your support. And even, and obviously I'm not saying this, but you're always responsive. You're always with a great attitude and so much patience. And it's really a gold program.
Awesome.
I highly
Well,
recommend.
hey,
And I'm happy to recommend, if you have prospects that need to talk to someone in tech, in the Bay Area, I'm happy to.
Thanks, Gal.
well, I'm sure later on someone's going to see this video and say, I want to talk to Gal, so hey, this is the biggest. Thank you so much. I just want to say we really appreciate that. We're always looking for ways to make this program better so that we can give, the most service to you guys. And I'm really glad, that's the biggest compliment we could possibly get. And we wish you the best of luck in your new search or in your new job.
Thank you.